Hey guys, welcome to Bespoke and Bougie Reviews. I'm Winston. I want to tell you about one of my favorite pieces that I've gotten in the gym in the last couple months, and it is the Legend Fitness squat machine with calf raise. This thing is amazing. I am a huge fan of it. It has a few things about it that I wish were a little different. And I will even talk about a company that makes a similar version of this that probably does rectify a lot of those issues, and I'll talk about why I picked this one instead of that one. So going over just the machine itself a little bit first. So this is going to be, as it says, a squat machine. You can kind of do a hack squat variation type thing. You can do a more traditional squat or calf raises, and you can also do overhead presses, like kind of simulating a Viking press. I'll show you all those, but I want to talk about the dimensions of this first. And that kind of goes into why I picked this one. I'm in a two-car garage working out, so I have to kind of be very conscious of my space. So this piece right here is 67 inches deep, lengthwise, 30 inches wide, and something like, 67, 65 inches tall, something like that. Height doesn't really matter so much to me. It's more the length and the width. So again, 67 deep, 30 wide, and I needed this particular one because of those dimensions. The problem with those dimensions is that, especially when you're doing kind of the overhead work, it can kind of clang up and down. If you're not like for me, sometimes I have stood off of it to do overhead presses, and it will kind of lean forward with the weight, which is not very good. And then along with that, the base plate on the back that you actually stand on is not super deep. Like that right there, for example, I should have already checked that. But the base plate itself that you have to like stand on essentially is 20 inches. So not a lot of space. I have this kind of pressed up against the wall again for space. You could enter it normally from the front. I have the calf machine, the calf raise part on there all the time, simply because it's just the most equivocal way for me to do it, because I'll kind of show you, because that base plate is smaller. And where I have it on my wall, my big ass will end up tapping the wall if I don't stand at a certain point, because it's so close to the wall. So I have this piece here, that calf raise here where it is, to kind of, it's kind of at the perfect position so that I can do sort of more traditional style squats. Oops, all the handles there. Traditional style squats unhindered. And then I can do, of course, the hack squats or pendulum style squats unhindered. And then I can also take a step back behind it, grab the other handles, even lean my back against the wall, and do more like a Viking press style overhead press. So I wanted to quickly do that, talk about the exercises you can do, talk about kind of the setup of this one, and tell you maybe even a superior version. So again, this is by Legend Fitness. They're like right outside of, I think, they're outside like Nashville, Tennessee. And then there is another company called Dynabody that I think they actually made the original version of this. And it's pretty much the same the Dynabody version is, except for a couple differences that I'll show you. Like, for example, on the Legend squat machine, you can see here that they have these little pins on both sides. The Dynabody only has them on one. You probably only need them on one. Legend had two, so you could call that a pro in Legend's favor. But one of the things that kind of knocked the Dynabody out for me was those dimensions. So the Dynabody is 90 inches long. So the legs that are kind of underneath where the weight plate goes, they're about 10 inches longer. And the plate where you stand is about 20 inches more. I believe, it's about 20 inches more. So it's a longer piece. The width is the same. The height is, I believe, like 5 inches taller. Again, height is not as big of an importance to me with my space. But it also has the calf blaster part on the Dynabody as well. I think that additional base plate that you stand on and the length under the legs help it be more stable, and it wouldn't have a wobble if you were standing off of it doing, your overhead presses or anything like that, like I have done in the past. I think it gives me a better stretch. Like I have to stand on it now, but I do think the Dynabody version is more superior. I have a couple of pieces from Dynabody coming in a little bit, just from the research I've done. If you had to pick between the two, this is advertised on their website at like $3,200. The Dynabody is advertised at $3,800. If you actually call and get a hold of the sales rep, I got this shipped to my door for $299 or $2,999, basically $3,000. And then I just talked to Dynabody just to see, and it was $3,400. So there's only about a $400 difference shipped to your door. If I could go back, I would still probably take this one because again, those issues have been kind of mitigated since I've pushed it against the wall. But not everyone's going to have it against the wall. And when you do those Viking presses, if you were standing off of this, it will tip forward. So there's no problem when you squat. There's no problem when you do the calf raises. Oh, excuse me. I should have brought that up. There is a problem when you do the calf raises. I actually had to put a block. I apologize for not bringing that up initially. I had that written down. I had to put that wood block and jam it in there because that's the other thing. If you do the calf raises, the base plate, again, the weight kind of tips forward and the base plate will rise up and like clang. There's another gentleman that years ago did a review. I'll tag that in the comments so you guys can see because I can't really replicate it with this. But it kind of rises up and clangs underneath. With that wood piece there, it's always touching the base plate. So it doesn't happen really with me now because I put that piece of wood in. I believe on the Dynabody, since it would be longer legs and a longer base plate, that's just more weight spread out. You would not run into that on that. So between the two, I would honestly go with the Dynabody. For me, I needed as much space as humanly possible because I want to get a couple more machines in here, so I went with the Legend. It's a great machine. That kind of super squat machine setup where you can do like a hack squat or pendulum style squat, however you want to look at it, with a regular squat, with a calf raise, with an overhead press. It's a phenomenal machine. To my knowledge, Dynabody and Legend Fitness does it. I had the Legend Fitness version. It was about $3,000 shipped to me in Alabama. The Dynabody would have been about $34,000, talking to an actual representative over there. I would go, if you have the space, I'd go with the Dynabody. If you don't, go with the Legend. It's fine. You just have to do a little extra work to it after the fact to make sure you don't run into any of those issues. But again, as always, if y'all have any question of how any part of the Legend squat machine works, please throw it in the comments. I'm happy to help clarify anything that I didn't cover in the video. Well, thank y'all very much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day.